Ever pondered why men are always expected to be stoic, unemotional, and strong? This perception of masculinity has been deeply ingrained in our society, shaping how men are supposed to behave, feel, and even think. In this societal narrative, a man is often expected to be a rock, unyielding and unflappable, regardless of the emotional torrents he may be experiencing inside. His tears are seen as a sign of weakness, his emotional vulnerability a flaw. He is told to man up, to suppress his feelings, to keep his pain hidden away. Women so often listen to struggles and pain of other women, but to a man they say he should stop gossiping and complaining. When we expect men to suppress their emotions, we are essentially asking them to deny a fundamental part of their human nature. We are all emotional beings, capable of experiencing a wide range of feelings, from joy and love to sadness and anger. These emotions are not signs of weakness, but rather they are indicators of our shared humanity, our capacity to connect with others, and our ability to navigate the world around us. The harmful effects of such expectations are far-reaching. Men who feel compelled to bottle up their emotions may find themselves wrestling with feelings of isolation, anxiety, and depression. They may struggle to form deep, meaningful relationships as they are unable to express their true feelings. They may even resort to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as substance abuse or aggression as a way to deal with their suppressed emotions. Everybody listens to a woman hurt and crying, everybody believes her, but to a man they say to shut up. They believe a woman when she gets abused, but for men that got abused by sociopath, people usually think they were abusing their woman. In short, when society expects men to be unfeeling, it's not only unfair, but also unhealthy. It destroys men. It's time for us to challenge these outdated notions of masculinity and to create a society where men are allowed, encouraged even, to express their emotions freely and without judgment. After all, vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength. It's what makes us human, and it's what connects us to each other. Have you ever thought about how these societal norms affect men who are empaths? Let's take a moment to ponder that. Empathetic men, those who feel everything so deeply, who have a heightened sense of emotions, both positive and negative. They carry the weight of the world, not just on their shoulders, but deep within their hearts. They feel the pain and joy of others as if it were their own, which can be both a blessing and a curse. In a world where men are constantly told to man up and suppress their emotions, empathetic men are often misunderstood. They are seen as weak for allowing their emotions to surface, for not fitting into the stereotypical mold of masculinity. But isn't it a strength to feel so deeply, to truly feel, understand, and empathize with the emotions of others? Now imagine the plight of an empathetic man entangled in a relationship with a sociopathic woman. A woman who manipulates, exploits, and gaslights without a shred of remorse. She takes advantage of his empathy, using his emotions as a weapon against him. She distorts reality, making him question his own sanity. She blames him for her actions, lying about how he is hurting and abusing her, so that he appears to be the abuser. And society? Well, it most often believes the woman. The empathetic man is left to pick up the shattered pieces of his life, all the while being labeled as the villain. He's emotionally drained, traumatized, and yet he's expected to remain silent about his pain. Why? Because he's a man. The societal narrative often fails to recognize the emotional struggles of empathetic men. Men are already considered guilty of abuse and women abused by the stereotype. It's time we acknowledge that men too can be victims of emotional abuse. It's time we understood that being empathetic is not a weakness, but a strength. It's time we allowed men to express their emotions, to share their pain, without fear of judgment. The societal narrative often fails to recognize the emotional struggles of empathetic men, because after all, they too are human, capable of experiencing a wide range of emotions, and they deserve to be heard, to be understood, and to be respected for who they truly are. Ever wondered why men rarely get child custody after a divorce? In the realm of divorce proceedings and child custody battles, there's an alarming prejudice that often leaves men at a disadvantage. It's a well-entrenched bias that paints men as inherently unfit to be nurturing parents, a stereotype that's not only unfair, but can also lead to children being raised in potentially abusive environments. Consider this scenario. A man who is empathetic and deeply caring finds himself in the throes of a bitter divorce. Despite his ability to provide a loving and stable environment for his child, he's overlooked. The prejudice that men are somehow less capable of nurturing a child can cast a shadow over the entire process. It's an unfortunate reality that, in many cases, the societal narrative leans towards favoring women in child custody battles. This bias, however, disregards the fact that there are women who can be manipulative and even sociopathic. They can skillfully play the victim, presenting themselves as the victim, while the actual is portrayed as the abuser. The consequence: the child is left in the care of a potentially abusive parent, while the empathetic father is unjustly sidelined. This scenario is not just a figment of imagination, but a harsh reality experienced by numerous men worldwide. The sad truth is that a child's well-being is often compromised due to this societal prejudice. A child might be better off with their father, but the prevailing bias prevents this possibility from being seriously considered. The damage this can cause to a child's development is immeasurable. It's a tragic reality that many children are denied a loving and nurturing father due to societal prejudices. In the end, the question that needs to be asked is, why should a child be denied the love and care of a father purely based on prejudice? It's high time we challenge these biases and ensure that the best interests of the child are always prioritized, regardless of societal stereotypes. It's a tragic reality that many children are denied a loving and nurturing father due to societal prejudices. Did you ever consider that women, too, can be sociopaths? An inconvenient truth, yet a truth nonetheless. We tend to overlook that sociopathy doesn't discriminate by gender. It's a mental health disorder that can affect anyone, regardless of their sex. Just as men, women can also be manipulative, exploitative, and deceitful. They can use gaslighting techniques, project their wrongdoings onto others, and manipulate, exploit, and suck the energy from those around them. Yet, what's more concerning is how society often fails to hold these women accountable. There's a prevailing notion that women are inherently weaker, more vulnerable, and in so many cases the world doesn't hold women accountable for their deeds. Most of women never accept accountability when they do what is not right. It starts with fathers that look through fingers. Even law enforcement can be swayed by a flirtatious smile, allowing these women to walk away scot-free. Women are physically weaker, so trust me, emotional abuse of women against men is much more ugly and detrimental. Because for a sociopathic woman, this is the power that she has, and uses with all her energy. She manipulates, deceives, and gaslights like no man ever can. Let us please remember, women are sociopaths too. Ever thought about the most loving, sensitive men being targeted by the worst kind of sociopaths? These men, with hearts as vast as the ocean, become the prey of those who seek to exploit their kindness. They are the empaths, the compassionate souls who feel deeply, love deeply, and unfortunately, hurt deeply. Their sensitivity, their capacity to love and understand, becomes their Achilles heel in the hands of a sociopathic woman. The abuse they endure is often silent, hidden behind the walls of societal expectations and gender stereotypes. The irony is that they are the ones who are often painted as the villains, while their tormentors lying around about them and walk away unscathed. He may get destroyed, then even blamed for what was done to him. His pain is overlooked, his struggles dismissed, and his voice silenced. But it's time we challenge these stereotypes and acknowledge the struggle they endure. It's time we rewrite the societal narrative to recognize the struggles of all men, especially those who are sensitive and loving.